Right, morning fellas, welcome back to another Villa on Tour video. We're going to make this short and sweet. In this video, me and Simon sit down, talk about all things Villa, Leon Bailey, Danny Ings, Jack Grealish to Manchester City. So do stay tuned, it's a good watch. Just before we carry on though, massive shout out to Luke, 1977, use the code MAX20 for 20% off almost anything there. Some really top gear, really nice clothes I've got over there. So if you have got a spare minute, top link in the description, go and check that out. MAX20 gets you 20% off. So without further ado, let's jump into the video. It's a good watch, trust me, so stay tuned, leave a like on the video if you do go on to enjoy it, subscribe if you are new, but that is enough from me, into the vid. Right then, so I'm joined with Simon. How are we, mate?
Yeah, not too bad, can't complain.
We'll start with the good news then, in the Villa universe. Danny Ings coming massively out of the blue last night, 6:30. Villa literally just tweeted it with an old photo of him, like there wasn't just anything holding the shirt or anything like that. It was quite bizarre. But what a signing, talk to me about him.
Yeah, it really came out the blue, didn't it? I thought it was a fake account on Twitter when I saw it, but yeah, really out the blue, but I can see why we've done it. I think you know, you look at Watkins and you think if he got injured, I think the club are probably a little bit worried. I think obviously Davis has got that injury, he's out for 2 months, and then we've got Wesley coming back from his long-term injury, and so I think we needed somebody else, and so it did come a little bit left field, and I think it took some people by surprise, but I think it was a good signing. Yeah,
it's a great signing. I think the rumoured fees, 25 plus add-ons, could potentially rise to 30. So it's a big fee for a 29-year-old. It's a gamble. I think it's good to get experience in, isn't it? Because we've lost the likes of Heaton, Neil Taylor, El Mohammadi, and you've got a very young side there without the likes of Ashley Young, Martinez, Mings, who are pushing it a bit. But yeah, it's a bit of a really good signing. I think with Southampton, you're not going to get James Ward-Prowse now. Now you've taken one of their best players, you're not going to go and nab the other one. But what does this mean for the side? Like, I think Dean Smith has always played 4-3-3, hasn't he? So what's the deal with that? Because is he going to go 2 up top? Personally, I don't see him doing that. I think the most likely option is maybe moving Watkins out wide. But then again, we've got a lot of options on the wings now with all the other signings coming in as well. So what do you think he'll do in terms of formation?
I think his whole strategy throughout the summer, to be honest, has been by players who are quite versatile and who can float around that attacking front 3 or 4. And so you look at the likes of Bailey and Buendia, and they can play obviously across the whole of the front sort of 3 or 4. And I think it's similar again. I think we brought Ings in, and I think he's looking at it thinking Ings and Watkins can sort of rotate, sometimes onto the left wing, sometimes up front, sometimes in the number 10 role. I think that's what he's trying to do, to be honest. Because we've been quite rigid, haven't we, in terms of, you know, Al Ghazi can only really play on the left and Traore can only really play on the right, and I think he's looked to bring players in who can sort of fit alongside that whole front 4, and so we can be fluid throughout matches. And so I don't think Danny Ings is coming to Villa to play on the bench, to be honest. I think he'll be a starter without a shadow of a doubt. I don't think we're paying 25-30 million for a regular Premier League goal scorer to sit on the bench, and so I think him and Watkins will start. But I think, as you said, it won't be a flat 4-4-2. I think they'll sort of rotate between playing on the wing and playing as your number 9.
Yeah, I think in terms of goal contributions and things like that, it's a brilliant sign. I can't remember who tweeted it, but there was a stat going around last night on Twitter about the likes of Buendia, Danny Ings, Leon Bailey. The amount of just goal contributions, assist goals that they've got is outrageous. So look, we've got goals in that side now, and we'll talk about Jack Grealish a little bit later on, but I think we're doing all the right things in terms of not replacing him, but doing all we can to sort of go into the season with as much talent as we can after losing him. But we'll move on to the other signing that happened yesterday. A massive day yesterday. We're filming on Thursday morning, by the way, so if anything's out of date, there's that. But Leon Bailey, weird one with how it was announced in his dad's shed. We were having a laugh about it. It was really weird, but what a signing. I think £30 million. I think last year, Tottenham, Liverpool, whoever were interested, they were wanting 40, but 23 years old, and he looks like a really good talent. So again, another winger. Talk to me about Bailey.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to lie, I don't know much about him, to be honest with you. I haven't seen a lot of him, but I've been onto YouTube as we always do, and have a look at the clips of him playing, and I mean, he looks a good player, and I think he's got that bit of pace, doesn't he? And I think I think that's the one thing we have been missing, is that little extra yard of pace, and he does bring that. And then obviously his goal contributions, his assists and his goals, I mean, they really stack up for it. And he was playing for a good side in Leverkusen. It's not like he's been playing in a poor league, in a poor side. He's been at a decent sort of size club, and so again, I think for the money we've paid, I think he looks a good player. And I think in terms of, you know, he's been linked with Liverpool, Man City, Man United last season. I think they were they were put off by the price tag that Leverkusen were putting over his head. And so for Villa to get the deal done, I don't know, it's somewhere between 25 and 30 million again. It surely represents decent value, especially with his age as well. He's only 23, and so again, room to grow.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's really good value, and I think in his interview he did with Villa TV, he says he likes to play on the right, but he's very versatile as well. He can play on the left, he can play up top, like a Buendia who usually would play on the right-hand side for Norwich like he did last season. It gives you that option, doesn't it, to freely just flow around the pitch. And I think, look, you'll see them on the team sheet as a 4-2-3-1 or whatever, but when you watch them in game, Bailey, Buendia, Watkins, whoever it is who's playing, they'll be all over the place. And I think it's good to just raise the quality of the side, because last season you had El Ghazi, Traore starting, and now they've dropped down to the bench, which I think is a really, really good option to have. You're building a bigger squad, you've got more options off the bench, because last year you were looking at the bench and there was nothing really there. So it's great to have your El Ghazis, Traore's, players like that coming off the bench, so it's really, really exciting. But massive question to you, if Watford away was tomorrow, I think defence and goalkeeper speaks for itself, but what would your starting 11 be? Because I think for me, what we've got to look at now, defence sorted. I don't think we've got anything to look at there. I think, you're looking at maybe a couple more backup centre-backs. Tuanzebe looks like he's coming in on loan, but defence is sorted. I think midfield is an option for me where it needs a bit of work. I think our next signing should be a big, hard-hitting, no-nonsense midfielder. And then you've got loads of options going forward. So what would your starting 11 be if Watford was tomorrow?
I think it picks itself, to be honest, at the moment. I think, obviously, as you said, you've got the goalkeeper and the defence. So the back five's pretty much sorted. But then you move into midfield and we're a little bit limited. We've only really got Nakamba and McGinn, who are really fully fit at the moment. And so I'm supposing that they would be your two holding players. And then I'm supposing you'd have, at the moment, you have a front three of Buendia, Bailey and Ings, and then Watkins, or Watkins on the left and Ings up front, whatever way you want to do it. I think at the moment it picks itself, but I think, as you just said, I think for me it's vital that we get a midfielder in. Whether we do that before the Watford game or not, it remains to be seen. But I think what you said there, though, about us bringing in sort of like a big defensive midfielder, I don't see that the type of player that Dean Smith's going to target, to be honest with you. I don't think that's how he plays. And I think he's looking at Nakamba already as his sort of stopper, defensive midfielder. I think he's looking more at a James Ward-Prowse type, and I don't think that one will happen after we signed Ings, to be honest. I think that'll be suicide by Southampton. But I think that's the sort of player he'll be targeting. I can't see a big burly defensive midfielder coming in, to be honest with you. I think it'd be more of a ball-playing midfielder, box-to-box sort of player. So, yeah, like I say, I think it picks itself at the moment as we're talking right now. I mean, we don't know what's going to happen before then. I mean, it'd be great if we could get a midfielder in before Watford. But I suppose we'll have to just wait and see on that one.
Yeah, I think, like we've said, midfield is definitely somewhere we need to work on. Nakamba's decent. I think he had a very good end to last season, but we were having a bit of a laugh at Bristol City. There was a guy in front of us who just slammed Nakamba for his passing. I think passing is definitely something that he needs to work on. He's been here 2 years now. So it's something that if you're going to be in a top 8 sort of Premier League side, you can be the best in the world at getting the ball back, but when you get it, you just give it back to them. It's not the best in the world, but yeah, I see what you're saying. It's not Dean Smith's policy to go and get a massive shithouse player like a Souček or anything like that. Don't get me wrong, I'd love him, but yeah, Todd Cantwell's been bandied around a little bit. What if we've got Tuanzebe? I think that's safe to say. It looks like he's coming in, but what else do we need then? We've talked about the midfielder. Would you look at another attacking option like a Cantwell, a number 10? I think we're okay on wingers in terms of Bailey, Traore, El Ghazi, Watkins can play out there. Philogene Badace was really, really good at Bristol City. He's a great option to have. Where else do we need to strengthen? I don't think there'll be loads of signings coming in now. We've spent loads of money. But would you look at a Todd Cantwell? Do we need another 10? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think we with Grealish going, I still think we probably need one more in that sort of attacking sort of 4, to be honest. I think obviously we signed Danny Ings, but he's predominantly a striker, and so we've done that because we were a bit concerned about Davis and Wesley being the backup to Ollie Watkins, and so I still think we'll need another type of attacking midfielder. I know there's been links with Cantwell. I know Sky are reporting that it's going to take 40-50 million to get Cantwell out of Norwich, which I don't believe that, because he's only got a year left on his contract, and then Norwich hold another year. They aren't going to command 40-50 million for him, and so whether we go down that route or whether it'll be a foreign player that hasn't come out yet or what, I'm not sure, but I think Dean Smith will be in the market for another one, because we've lost. Yeah. So we've lost Grealish, but obviously we're bringing in Bailey, but that was already in addition to Grealish anyway. And so if you're taking Grealish out of the equation, I still think we need one there. And I think if we could add like I say, the central midfielder, Twanzebe looks like he's on the way. And I think the only other thing he'd be doing then is possibly looking at a goalkeeper as a backup. But yeah, I don't know, 2 to 3 more. I think. I don't think it'll be many more than that.
Yeah, I think if we take Cantwell, you've got to fear for Norwich there, and I think it's a similar story for Southampton. That's why I don't see us getting Ward-Prowse, because I think, like you said earlier, that really would be suicide for Southampton, because I think they'll have a difficult season anyway. They might not, they might surprise a few, but I think they'll have a difficult season anyway after losing Danny Ings especially. But the main topic of the video, I think it's time to come on to it. Jackie G. £100 million look like he's going, and the day we're filming, like I said earlier, Thursday morning, it looks like he's having his medical today. Thoughts on that, mate? I think when we went to Bristol City on Saturday, me and you were very, very down. I think we kind of accepted it. The whole away end sort of accepted it in a way. We were chanting, you can shove your 100 million, whatever. But I don't know. I think now I'm much happier seeing that we've signed Bailey, Ings, and we're going out splashing the cash. I'm so much happier now than I was sort of this time last week when it looked like we were in massive trouble. And look, it is a shame that he's gone literally 9 days before Watford, which isn't ideal because, okay, I get it, I'm not in the negotiations in Man City, obviously something's delayed that, but it's annoying that he's gone that close to the start of the season. But give me your general thoughts on Jackie G then going to Man City for 100 mil.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think he was flat at Bristol City last weekend, and I think deep down we could all see what was coming. I think my position on it has been for a very long time is that I thought he would stay at Villa, but that's purely for the fact I didn't see anybody paying the money that Villa would have wanted for him. And I was quite surprised, to be honest with you, that Man City have come in with 100 million offer. I think it's massive money, and it's why I thought he would stay. I mean, I've got no doubt in my head, and I know that there might be some stick for this, but I think everyone talks about Jack Grealish's loyalty in the past, and while I love Jack Grealish and I hope he doesn't fall flat on his face at Man City, I think this whole thing about he's been loyal to Villa over the last few years, I think that's a little bit far-fetched, to be honest with you. And the reason why I say that is because obviously he was on the verge of joining Spurs a few years ago, and he didn't exactly put up a fight not to move to Spurs. I think he even said in an interview after that he was quite disappointed that he didn't get the move in the end. And then last summer, yeah, he signed a new deal with us, but why did he sign the new deal? And the thing for me is that he signed the new deal because no offer was actually on the table from Man United or a Man City last year, and so if a club are going to offer you, double your wage or something, he's going to sign it. And so I think some people have been lulled into a false sense of security a little bit with him, to be honest, in terms of he's a Villa lad, he's very loyal and all that. I personally think if he'd had the chance to leave last summer or even before that, I think he would have. And so look, it is what it is. I think the club have done everything they possibly can to keep him. They've offered him massive money. They're proving themselves in terms of who they're buying to fit into the team. And at the end of the day, I think you have to come to a point where you have to put your hands up and say, we've done all we can. But if he wants to leave the club and we get in 100 plus million for him, what else can the club physically do about it?
For me, I think it's really annoying because of what he said last year. Look, he signed a new contract, 5-year contract in September last year. My club, my home, my city, whatever it was. And I think we all know the reasons he's going. We're not going to be salty about it. Look, he wants to play at the highest level. He deserves to play at the highest level because he's a world-class footballer. He wants to play with Kevin De Bruyne, who he's talked about for years. He wants to play under Pep, which is fair enough because he's the best manager in the world. But I don't know, it just doesn't really sit right with me. Look, he doesn't go with my blessings because I support Villa and not Jack, but it's just weird because we're building something at Villa, and I understand that, look, he's 26 in September, he's approaching his prime, but we're really building something at Villa, and we've progressed in the last 3 or 4 years, and we're only going up, and we're going to be pushing Europe the next few years, but it's just annoying because I'd love Jack to be a part of that, and I think if he was, we'd stand a much better chance of success because he's that good. But if you put yourself inside of his shoes, you can understand why he's doing it because he wants to play in the Champions League, he wants to win trophies. But I just think if you win a trophy at Aston Villa, if you win the FA Cup with Villa next year for the first time since 1957, that is so much better. If he's a fan, I'm not disputing that he's not a fan because of course he's had a season ticket since he was whatever age. But lifting the FA Cup for the first time in 60 whatever it is years is so much better than winning 10 FA Cups for Man City, which they do every year anyway. So that just, it doesn't really sit right with me. I can see the reasons why he's going. I can see the reasons why he's not, why he would stay. But for me, it just doesn't really sit right, and it is a little bit of an annoying one.
Yeah, I think in defence of Jack, I think it would have been a really, really tough decision. I think choosing between your boyhood club and choosing to go to a team when you know they're going to win trophies. I don't think it's money motivated at all. I think he was going to earn big money at Villa or Man City. I don't think that comes into it. And I can sort of see why he's done it. I think for me, the most frustrating part of it for me is there's a few elements to it. I think number one, last summer with the sound bites he comes out with, and it's like, it's frustrating for fans because you hear these quotes and you see these quotes all online. And you think, oh yeah, they absolutely love our club, etc. And then you realise that they're just the same quotes that every player says, and it just hurts differently when it's one of your own, doesn't it? I think that's number one. So number two for me, it's that he's going to Man City, which obviously we all know they're the best team in the league, and let's be honest, they will win the league with or without Jack. But what sort of motivation is it? I mean, what sort of achievement is it for him to walk into Man City and they're going to win? They're definitely going to win trophies. And so, what's the motivation? What's the sort of achievement? I mean, let's face it, he could sign today and he could win his first trophy on Sunday in the Community Shield. I mean, I know it's the only Community Shield, but it's true. And it's like, could you imagine him standing there lifting that trophy, thinking, I've literally contributed absolutely nothing to winning this, and yet here I am lifting the trophy, and it just feels very superficial to me, and I just wonder I just question I question his motivation as a footballer, or any footballer's motivation to go to Man City, because you're not striving to win trophies. You're definitely going to win trophies, and I'm just not sure. And then the last part of it for me is just the timing of it. The thing is, if you'd said to me when we're in the Championship, he's off to Man United, Man City, you'd have said fair enough. Even when we finished 17th in the Premier League, if you'd have gone then, you'd have said fair enough. He's massively improved himself, and we've had a pretty poor season. Okay, we've stayed up by the skin of our teeth, but overall it wasn't great. But then to go after the season when we have made genuine progress, and with the signings we're bringing in, we're looking to push on to get into Europe. I don't really get it, and I think that's the thing for me. Like the owner, I just think the owners will feel really sort of exasperated by it, because it's like, well, what more can we do? We've spent all this money. We've literally made him our highest paid player. He's our captain. We literally give him the freedom of Villa Park and the freedom of Birmingham, and yet now's the time he wants out, and it just feels like. And the thing for me, it feels quite. If I was the owner, it would feel quite personal as well, because I'd feel like, what? So you saying you don't believe in what we're trying to achieve? Then is that what you're saying? And I do find it pretty galling that 10 months after saying, oh, I spoke to Nassef and I see the vision of the club and etc, for him then to basically do a U-turn and say, well, you know what? No, I don't believe in your vision of the club anymore. And I'm sure when a statement comes out later, he'll talk about, oh, I love the club, I'm a fan of the club, I always will be, and the club are in very good hands with the owners, which, by the way, they are. But I just think people read it and just think, oh, and not believe it. And the thing is, you can see what's going to happen. He's going to come back to Villa Park. He's going to get around a chorus of boos and stuff. And it's just sad. I just think it's a sad end to a player who he should have been, he should have been the Alan Shearer of Villa or the Matt Letizia of Villa, statues outside the ground. And that's what he could have become. And yet he's going to Man City. And you know what? He'll probably not regret it in the short term. He probably will win all these trophies, but come 3, 4, 5 years down the line, where will he be? Because Man City as a football club just keep evolving, and you got to look at it. Well, they look at Jack in a few years' time and think, well, you're not in your peak of your powers anymore. You're not good enough for us, and we'll flog you, just like they did with Gareth Barry, Delph, and Milner, for instance. Now he went on to Liverpool, but I don't know. I look at it and I just think I'm not sure whether he'll even be there in 4 or 5 years' time. I just think Man City are a different breed of club, I really do, and they're even so different to like Man United. Like you look at when Ashley Young left Villa to join Man United all them years ago. To be fair to Ashley Young, he went there, he won all these trophies, everything he could have won, and he stayed there for 8, 9 years. And so no one could say that move was a failure for Ashley Young. But I look at Grealish and I just wonder, where will he be in 4 or 5 years' time? Will he still be at Man City, or will they have flogged him to West Ham or Everton or something? And I just think he could have just carried on at Villa and been our poster boy until retirement. And I just think it's a shame, because I think it's proved that loyalty, it doesn't exist anymore in football. And I think we thought it did with the likes of Grealish, but I'm not sure it does anymore.
Yeah, look, I think, like you touched on, in 5 years' time, when he's 31 years of age and he's watching Villa and hopefully will be pushing Europa League, Champions League that time anyway, he'll look at the project that we've built here and he'll be jealous of it. He might have thought, oh, I wanted to stay and be part of that. when he gets flogged out to a mid-table side when he's 32, I don't know, it just doesn't really sit right. And when we're progressing, and it's so obvious that we're progressing as well, with the amount of investment the owners are putting into playing staff, Bodymore Heath, making that a top quality place, the youth setup where we're picking players from Albion every other day. I just don't know, you can see it's so obvious that the club is doing so well, and I don't know why Jack wouldn't want to be a part of that. And when he looks back on his football career, when he's 60, 70 years old, surely you'd want to be part of that Villa process and, you know, be a legend at the club, have a statue, keep your face on the North Stand rather than scraping it off in a couple of weeks' time like we will. It's just, I don't know, it's a really, really tough one, and I can see it from his point of view as well, because he's a top quality, world-class footballer. He goes to England, he goes to the England camp this year, he's knocking a ball around with Phil Foden, Harry Kane, Reece James, Ben Chilwell, these players who have won Premier Leagues, they're world class, they've won Champions Leagues in the last few months, and I can understand why you'd want to be part of that. But on the other hand, like you said, loyalty is so rare in football these days, and surely if you're a fan, you'd want to be the poster boy for that side and be a proper legend. And I think if he looks back on his career when he's 60, 70, and he's done that at Villa and he's stayed his whole career there, that is something to be so proud of. And if, like I said, you win one League Cup, you win one FA Cup with Villa, that's so good compared to winning 10 leagues and 10 pointless League Cups at Man City. It just, I don't know, that's just my point of view in it, and I can see why he's gone, because he wants to play at the highest level with the top players and the top managers, but it's just annoying. But I think in terms of a Villa point of view, moving away from Jack, I think we're fine. Like I said earlier, I think I'm so much happier now seeing him go because we've invested back into the squad. And look, Leicester did it. They lost Mahrez, Harry Maguire, they've lost N'Golo Kante, massive names, and it hasn't affected them. And I think that's why Leicester are such a well-run club, and they've gone on to win the FA Cup like they did last year. So I think, look, we can be confident as Villa fans that we are still going to be progressing. We're not going to fall off a cliff and, you know, battle relegation this season. I think we're going to be absolutely fine. We're going to keep progressing. And from a Villa point of view side, what do you reckon? Do you think we'll be okay? I think we'll be absolutely fine in terms of, you know, we've invested massively. So, look, I don't think we're going to... It's not ideal we're losing Jack, like you said, so close to this season, but, look, I think we'll be fine.
I think I'm more confident in the owners that we've got now. I think when it was first rumoured that he was going a couple of months ago or so, I think I was slightly concerned, because I look back at the time under Randy Lerner when we sold our best players and we didn't reinvest wisely enough, and we went on that horrible slide towards the Championship. And you obviously draw comparisons a little bit, but I've got to say, drawing those comparisons were not wise at all, because I think the owners have proved that they had got a plan B if Jack went. I think they were saying they've got a plan to improve if Jack stayed and a plan to improve if Jack goes. And I think they're putting that into action very quickly. You can see that we're going to invest. We're going to keep investing. And I just wonder that. I think the thing is with Villa over the last few years, we've been over reliant on Jack, really, and I think we've struggled to adapt when he's been outside. And I think we all saw that last season, the Championship. And I just think maybe this investment, well, you know, you can't replace Jack as an individual. You can't do it. So you have to look at his attributes and think, well, how can I buy a few players to sort of fit into that team and still bring all the attributes Jack had? And I think that's what we're trying to do in a way with the players that we're bringing in. And so, I mean, like I say, he's a world-class player, absolutely. You don't want to lose a world-class player. And if you'd give me the option, I'd rather have kept him, of course. But I do wonder whether we will improve because of it, just because we won't be over-reliant. We'll be looking at other ways of playing. And yeah, I'm positive about it. And I think it's because of the investment we are making. I think if we hadn't signed Danny Ings yesterday, and there was no more real rumours, and I think that's what I like about it. I think we haven't just sat on our laurels sort of thing, and we've sort of, even while this transfer to Man City is ongoing, Villa have been like, you know what, no, we're going out and we're going to sign Danny Ings. And I heard this morning that Villa are negotiating the Danny Ings transfer, even like last Sunday. And so it shows that, hang on, we're not going to wait for you to complete your move. We're just going to go for it. And I think that was the error we made under when Randy Lerner sold Barry and Milner, etc. We just waited. It dominated our whole summer, and then we ended up at the very last minute under Martin O'Neill trying to buy players, and it's not the way to go. And so I am positive about it. I think the owners have got a good vision for the club. I think the players they're signing are really good players, and I'm quite excited, to be honest with you. It's like a new era again, isn't it? And yeah, you'd have loved Jack to has still been there. But the fact is he's not, and as a club, we have to move on.
Yeah, I think it's a really exciting season coming up. We're definitely in the right hands in terms of ownership, management. So it's an exciting season ahead for sure. So I'm going to put you on the spot now. What are your ambitions this season? Where do you think we'll finish? Do you think, you know, any sort of progression is okay if we come 10th with 60 points? Is that good enough? Is it crucial that we do get Europe this year, we get into that 7th place and get into the Europa Conference or whatever it is? Do you think we are going for Europe this year? I think personally that I've put my money on 8th. I think we'll progress massively. I think the squad we've got now, even without Jack, is better than the one we had last year. We've got more depth, so I am more confident this year compared to last year. Fans coming back as well, I think that's a massive part, especially full Villa Park every week. That's going to be class. So season ahead, talk to me. Where do you think we'll finish, etc.?
I don't think the ambitions change, whether Grealish is there or whether Grealish isn't there. To be honest, I think that the owners will look at, they want progression, and it's steady progression. I don't think we're not going to be challenging top 4 or anything like that, and I probably don't think we're going to be challenging top 6. But I think if you're looking at top 8, I think even if you're looking at Europa Conference League, that's what the thing we're sort of looking at. And I think what you said, would even 10th with another 5 or 6 points be progression? Well, it would be progression, yeah. And I think the thing you look at is that it's very hard to break into that European. It's really hard to break into Europe. It is, and I think that's how we've got to look at it. There's a lot of other clubs who are trying to do the same thing, and so I'm under no illusions that I still think it'll be tough to do. And so even if we finish 10th with six more points than we did last season, I still don't think it's a cry to say we failed and the manager needs to go. I don't, and that's because as you get higher up the league, it gets more tough. And so yeah, I would back us to finish top 8, to be honest with you. And I think if we did, I think that would represent a good season. And I think that's a realistic aim and achievement as well. I think people saying we're going to go for top 4, I think that's a little bit out of the realms of possibility, to be honest with you, just because of how strong everybody else is. But you look at the likes of like West Ham, who got Europe last season, you wonder, they haven't done much invested this summer, and you look at, they've got the Europa League coming, and how will they suffer because of that? And you look at other clubs like Wolves, they're a bit of an unknown, and Leeds again, could they have a second season syndrome? It's all questions that no one knows. And of course, in terms of how we do as a team, it all relies on whether we keep players fit, and it relies on a lot of factors, doesn't it? But I'm confident. I think we'll be all right, and I think, as you said, I think overall we've improved. We've padded out the squad. We've added more quality, more strength in depth, and I think we'll be all right. And if I was a betting man, I'd say we will top 8. I'd say. Right,
so that is the end of the video. Massive thank you to Simon for coming on. Massively appreciate it. It's been a while since I've done like a sit-down sort of video like this. So if you have enjoyed it, please do leave a like. Let's try and hit 1,000 on this video. Let us know your thoughts on Jack Grealish going to City, Danny Ings, Leon Bailey, the season ahead, literally anything. Let us know in the comments what you're thinking ahead of this season. But thank you very much for watching. It is massively appreciated. Subscribe to the channel if you are new, and I shall see you at Watford next week. Up the Villa.